If you are afraid and aggressed within a dream, then we have techniques that you can use for that. And the same techniques I taught my children when they were 7 and 8 years old is that this is your dream, and treat it like a cartoon. Like they can make a bat appear, so can you. They can fly and jump over buildings, so can you. It's your dream. You can tell them to leave your dream. Like, get out of here. My dream.
You don't get to step in.
Your dreams are important. Pay attention to them. They are putting you into another reality, showing you that there's another reality than this 3D objective world that is bounded by our 5 senses, that there is another side to you. Just like you have an etheric body, you can enter into the 4th and 5th dimension, which is not real in the 3D sense, but it exists.
Welcome to Call for the Truth. I am LaOta of the Sun, and this is Tarvars of the Sun, and we are happy to be with you today. We are inviting you to join in our discussion. Today we'll be discussing dreams, but before we begin, Tarvars, will you bring us into the Call for Truth?
Most certainly, and we encourage you all who are tuning in with us to call forth the frequency of truth with us. Shall we call forth the frequency of truth? Shall we call forth the frequency of truth? Shall we call forth the frequency of truth? Shall we call to see the truth in all that we see? Shall we call to hear the truth in all that we hear? Shall we call to speak the truth, calling forth the courage to speak the truth? Shall we call forth nothing less than the truth to come forward into our experience? And now we feel that truth reverberating within us, and
Yes.
Thank you all for joining us. And if you're new here and you want to continue calling for the truth with us, click that like, subscribe, that bell notification. And so today we are talking about dreams.
Yes.
None of that. We're not talking about Fleetwood Mac. We're talking about just your dream state. So LaOta, we've been getting a lot of people reaching out and inquiring about dreams, and there's even been the holographic reflection showing up. We'll be listening to something and someone will talk about the dream state, and it's like, oh, there it goes again, there it goes again. And so here we are talking about the dreams. So it's something that people know, that the dream state is another part of our reality. Some may even say it's more real than the waking state. However, would you mind laying a little foundation for us, a little preamble about the dream state?
There are multi-dimensional worlds and many parallel realities. The dreams are one doorway into our limited view of the multidimensional nature of who we are, of our own reality. It is a real place and real things take place there. And there are those who specialize in moving in and about your dreams for various reasons. And then there are spontaneous and organic activities that take place within the part of our consciousness that resides in this very real place. And it is a place in which we can get predictive information or understandings or have visitations from relatives and friends. So this is a large world, this dream world.
Yeah, very much so. I would agree. And, one thing that people have often encountered is there's several different things. One would be protection in their dream state, let's like visitations. And some people talk about lucidity, waking up in their dreams. Some people talking about, there's people visiting me in my dreams, people who they have beef with in the waking state, aggressors showing up, and we specialize in energetic protection, specifically energetic clearing, but protection comes by way of clearing. It's like clearing is the nodal center nucleus, and everything else that we do is a kind of like an arm or a branch off, or a sun ray, shall I say, of that idea of clearing. And so we do actually have night practices that we're going to make sure that we add a link in the description for you all for reference. And clearly, and this was your idea, I stepped into this by way of you, Sensei LaOta, the idea of daytime practices, and just as important, to clear yourself at night before you go to bed. Would you speak a little bit about the necessity of clearing before you go into dream time and why that's important?
It's important. We are in the energy hygiene business. If you go to our website, you'll see that's what we do. We're energy hygienists, and it's important to brush your teeth and to clean the kitchen and to clean the toilet bowl. And it's important to clean and clear the way before you become unconscious in a place where other things may have taken place, or where you're not fully congruent on what the possibilities are in reality. I like to look at the idea of raising children. When my children were growing up, when I would make their breakfast in the morning, I would sit with them and ask each one of them, what did you dream last night? Share with mommy your dreams, so that we could then explore what's happening in their multidimensional greater reality, and also let them know that if there was anything disturbing or that was taking place, if they were flying through the air and it was great, wonderful, but if something bumped into them and tried to bite them, what they should do. And so my children were taught from a very small age to wake up within the dream and take control of their world, which is their dream. And so this is what is important for people to know. It is important, whatever message is coming through. Some people are predisposed to predictive dreams where they can predict the future. Some people are predisposed to speak to ancestors and the dead ones. Some people are predisposed to working out the day-to-day incongruencies. Some of this is part of all of humanity, and some of this is cultural understandings. So, someone says, well, there was a bluebird in my dream. And what does that mean? And so there are good resources to find out spiritual meanings of things online, but it is also not a one-size-fit-all pantyhose. So the cultural references vary from cultural groups, even in the same country. So if you're Irish American, and if you're German American, and you have the same dream, you may not have the same symbology. It may not mean the same thing to you, because your grandmother may have told you a story when you were a child, and the hawk means one thing in that story, and it's deeply embedded into your consciousness. And in Cuba, it may have been a different thing. So.
This is such a major key, because oftentimes we as humans, those on the spiritual journey, we go into a thing thinking it's a blanket, one size fit all. And this is a very different perspective that I've seen on Dreamtime, because this takes into account the nuance in consciousness. When you were speaking about cultures and even people in the same landmass who are interpreting something differently, that is a level of consciousness that is perceiving that, and you may not be that may not be a consciousness or a field of consciousness that you're a part of, that again, the bluebird will mean something different.
Yes.
And so one last thing, I can also see the truth of that as it relates to what we refer to as animal totems, animal medicine. And again, it's the same correspondence of the interpretation of how universe is showing up through the anima.
Yes, it's we do like to refer people to Ted Andrews' books of Animal Speaks, or to go online and look at what is the animal totem, for greater vocabulary in the symbol business.
Yeah.
For the greater symbology.
Mm-hmm.
It may not fit your particular experience, and you may feel like you may reject it and say, no, I know that's not what I was experiencing. That something else was taking place in it, or it was aggressive, and the thing that came looked like something that was not aggressive and what I felt was aggressive.
I want to speak on this because the Ted Andrews book, I have found it to be so much of value for helping navigate. But one things that I've noticed is that I'll find certain things that, like, my guidance will note me and prompt me. Oh, it's that. It's not this. And there's like several different characteristics, and something will jump out, and I'll be able to check with the guidance and say, okay, that's what it was showing me, or at least point me in a direction in terms of the generality, which still is, it may not directly speak super succinctly, as you were saying earlier about, it's the dream state is pretty specific. Even when we get visitations in the waking state with animals, like the other day, right? We love the dragon. We've been hanging out with the dragonflies. Hey, you all, LaOta had 3 dragonflies on her today at one time. She's setting records. I had one and a ladybug at the same time. She had 3 dragonflies. I'm like, man, you doing it. So, anywho, this idea of the awakened state, the animals and the insects that show up to us, the information that they have might not be on Google. It might be something that you like. The other day, what that dragonfly told me, I was not gonna find on Google. I'm just saying. So I can see uh, that basically what you're saying about the Ted Andrews, like, we could get a baseline, but there's still some necessity to like stretch ourselves to see like what's the deeper specific information that's unique to the individual based on the consciousness.
It's so true. There's more to it than that. There's this is a cursory conversation,
Yeah.
but the idea that we think that because we're all speaking English and can understand each other, that we're all thinking the same thing is not true. And so our dreams are not going to necessarily be the same. It has everything to do with what design are we of human? What kind of human are we? What is our task? What did we come here for? What does that symbol mean based on what our contribution to humanity is? So it can be very specific. The idea of this conversation is to broaden the horizon, to make everyone know that, look, there's information. We've all heard the expression that everything means something. And it should say everything means something for you.
I know that's right.
And that, yes, the angel numbers may, having the angel book and, the angel numbers may mean the same thing for you and maybe another person, but all information is not the same information and doesn't hit the same frequency and vibration for each soul at the moment they receive it. So a lot of times your dreams are intensely personal for you. And there are people who can help divine what that is, but it is, if you go into quiet and meditation, if you ask for it before you go to sleep, ask to know in the morning, you may know.
Yeah, I'd like to speak about that. So, as you know, this is for the listeners out there. I'm an avid dreamer, and I have strong recall as well as lucidity. And earlier on, when I was working with LaOta, this was well over a decade ago. Before I even started actually working within of the sun, I was a client, and I think I had my first, it was somewhere in between DNA activation and the protocol was a little different, but then you just started introducing advanced soul clearings, and I had my second soul clearing. And so I had a lot of free time on my hands, and I wanted to astral project. And so, from whatever my research was at that time, they said, start off by remembering your dreams and become lucid in your dreams. And that will help break any type of fear and blocks of moving out of the body, et cetera, et cetera. So, part of the process was literally what you're saying, where I would have my journal by my bedside. Every time I would wake up, and in that in between space of waking and dream state, that little fuzzy area where you're still tethered, I'd write down the dream in detail. And I did that enough to where my recalls became stronger. And not only that, I began to become lucid. And fast forward, I make jokes about this, but it's so real. I fight back in my dreams. If something come in, it's like, the hell? Pull out whatever from the imagination. I'd be flying and, it's my domain, right? But I also see that that's representative of the consciousness of the individual. If you're not like that in waking state, it's likely you're not going to be in self-preservation mode. You're going to be running until the dream's over. No, God. They after me. It's like this endless, I don't know where you're getting the energy from, but you're running forever. But my point is that to what you were saying, specific information that was meant for me was coming forth from the dreams. And then
Right.
I was able to start correlating it in waking state. And I think that there's many people out there who, like you said earlier, they have these premonitions. They have the dream and it shows up in reality. And some people, actually most people are actually terrified of it. Like, oh, I've seen someone's death, or I've seen something happen that I didn't want to happen, or, and my dreams come true and I don't want it. So what do you say about this idea of the fear surrounding being able to have this type of foresight that comes from the dream state?
Each person will land differently for them, but I see this as a gift. And as a parent, as I mentioned before, doing this with my children, this helped me know what their gifts were. This helped me understand when you're the mother of small children, there isn't anyone who knows more about the children than you. So you have their before, during, and now. So when you hear their dreams, you can put them usually into context unless they start to go to school and then you don't know what's going on there. And even that is an indicator that maybe you need to know more about what's going on in school. So it helps to know so that you can encourage the gift to grow in an environment where the gift is safe, where the gift is honored, where the gift is allowed to give its benefit. And so that's how I look at it in general. If you're a big picture seer and you see big events, then you are encouraged to document them, because it may be that in service to humanity, you are sharing with us what the majority of people don't have the gift to see. If you are seeing people die, that is within the range of what happens on the planet. People die.
Like, didn't you get the memo?
And even if you didn't want it to happen, the gifts may not be designed for your desires. The gifts may be something to let you, your family, or others know, or if you recognize the person who's dying, or maybe you recognize it's going to be a war. These are valuable experiences that may be documented. If you are afraid and aggressed within a dream, then we have techniques that you can use for that. And the same techniques I taught my children when they were 7 and 8 years old is that this is your dream, and treat it like a cartoon. Like, they can make a bat appear, so can you. They can fly and jump over buildings, so can you. It's your dream. You can tell them to leave your dream. Like, get out of here. It's my dream.
You don't get to step in.
But the bigger idea is that you have authority over your own experience. That often accompanies you having more authority over your experience in this reality.
Yeah.
Where somebody pushes you around, you're like, no, we're not doing that in this reality or in the dream world. That's not what we're doing. So that it helps. And all the multidimensional parallel realities, all the levels at which you become conscious, having the clarity of who you are works in every domain. So this gives you a chance. If you recognize, I'm afraid and somebody's hurting me in my dream, that's what we should work on. We should work on collapsing the fear and recognizing that it may be that this is a message for you so that you can become stronger. However horrible the thing is, it can be reversed. It can be changed because it's your dream.
That's right. Yo,
And when you take authority over yourself in this reality or in dream reality or in the multidimensional realities or in the parallel realities, you gain the benefit. When you let yourself get pushed around, you can expect you'll probably be pushed around in all the realities you're in.
If you're a conscious investor looking to make a difference, you need to hear about Aluka Gold. Because doing good and doing well isn't just a dream, it's our promise. Let's face it, everyone wants their money to work harder. But what if your gold investment could do double duty? Aluka Gold is more than just precious metal. We're committed to ethical sourcing and total transparency so you know exactly where your gold comes from, and who it helps. Every ounce you invest helps support real miners and their communities with humanitarian projects and fair wages. That's not just good business, it's good for the world. You get solid, physical gold, plus the pride of knowing your investment brings hope and opportunity to families who need it most. So why settle for ordinary returns when you can spark extraordinary change? Invest with purpose. Invest with Aluka Gold. Do good, do well, and let your gold investment shine brighter than ever.
So
this is it's fascinating to speak on the correlation between both worlds. It makes me think about different indigenous cultures who had this strong understanding, not just understanding, but it was a regular part of reality where they go into Dreamtime, bring information back, that type of interpretation. And I love how you said, I was with my children and I just speak to them. So what'd you dream about? What's going on in that little subconscious mind of yours? What you dreaming about? Right. And I love how you said honoring the gift, because it's something that there's no honor, there's no respect for this aspect of ourselves, which is very real and it's well documented, but it's so like misunderstood and and then at the same time there's the aspect of it's so unique to the individual, and the society that we live in doesn't really support understanding nor integrating these aspects. But my understanding is, we're shifting. We're I would say this wholeness, it would be embracing that
right.
aspect of our reality. In Lakesh oneness, it would be, okay, let me analyze my dreams. Let me not ignore that which is here. I saw myself running. Who was I running from? What did I see? Now,
Right.
I will say this because I got several stories, some of which where I won't go too deep into detail, and one of them I'll give the details, but keep it brief. There's one where I remember seeing the red flags about a certain person beforehand, but I was like, nah, let me see if I can kind of navigate it. And then when it went downhill, I was like, I saw it in my dream. I saw it. It was someone dark behind the person, and they said something like, "Got your ass." It was something like that. I'm like, and I tried to shake it off, but what I saw happening in terms of the interference that that person was bringing into my experience, I started making the connection. I was like, it was there from the start, so that honoring, that respecting what's in the dream state, there are messages. I can even see our guides, they work with us to help us understand and navigate this plane, because we're a little more susceptible to information in that space.
We are at a disadvantage is that everyone in the third dimension is wearing a mask. They're projecting something. And in dream world, it's also possible that they're still wearing the mask, but you may have a glimpse behind it, where in day reality, you might not actually see behind it. One of the things that I hold to be true and live by is that if I see that someone is sabotaging themselves, if they are having behavior that is not in their best interest, I already know they're going to bring that to me because they have no guardrails on saving their own lives. So why would they develop guardrails to save mine? So I think that's a good rule of thumb. If you see people showing up doing risky behavior of any kind in your third dimensional world, and then you see them doing risky behavior in your dream world, that you don't really need a divination tool.
as you say, believe your own experience. Trust your own experience. Excuse me. Trust what you're seeing. Now, that person don't brush their teeth. There's something wrong with something, or whatever it may be. It's usually much more egregious than that.
But whatever it is, at whatever level it is just pay attention. We often are not observing enough. We could position ourselves to observe those in our experience to see, everything should serve us. Our dreams should serve us. Our waking state should serve us. The people we interact with, we should serve them and they should serve us. The job we have, we should serve it. It should serve us. The things that we say we adhere to, whatever it is that we say we adhere to, we should serve it and it should serve us. When that law of the reciprocity doesn't exist, we're out of balance. So that applies in every dimension and every experience. We are moving. It is a solar maximum. We are at a point at which the sun is about to increase all of us on Earth. And the coding from the sun is coming in with new coding for humanity. So we may not be in the third dimension in a minute. We may end up in the fourth dimension or in the fifth dimension. And even if we were to move just from the third to the fourth dimension, we would be in a dimension where we do no harm. So if harm is being done to you in your dream, you're like, you're in the wrong dimension. You're gonna have to go back to wherever you came from, because I'm moving to the fourth dimension where no harm is done.
That's right.
I'm not going to hurt any living thing, and I'm not going to allow you to hurt me.
This is making me think about how there's a direct correlation with one's level of consciousness and what is taking place in the dream state, and making ourselves susceptible in engagement with low frequency produces that type of experience in the dream state. It's making me think about, like, what do you do before you go to bed?
Right.
What are you listening to before you go to bed? Did you have an argument before you went to bed? Are you playing violent things before you go to bed? That's impressing your dreams and programming your subconscious, programming your cells. And you are likely, if somebody was running on the screen, you likely going to be running in your dreams. That rhymes.
Right. If you're looking at that long list of dark anti-life titles on Netflix before you go to bed, or watching one of Little Liars, Killers, whatever the names of all the things are, it's like this long list of dark, more anti-life kinds of things. You might find some of that seeps into your dream space.
I want to speak a little bit on this. It's just from a little bit of a different facet. For some reason, well, I know why. I'm in my mind, I'm thinking about people who watch horror films and who enjoy it. There is a numbness, so to say, but they actually get off on watching it and may even laugh at some of the stuff. Weird, but that's reality for some people. And I remember speaking to someone about this and said, you don't feel bothered with that? And it was a woman. She's like, no, I like that stuff. Sometimes I'm laughing, and it's like, you don't think that that's affecting you watching this scary stuff? I wasn't even operating at the level of conscious and awareness that I am in this moment. It was barely, but I knew enough that you watch something while before bed, something will impress upon you, or just in general, right? And so what I started looking at, especially in recent times, was that even though we're watching like a horror film and a person may think like, oh, I'm not seeing no entities and I'm not seeing no things, I think about, like, okay, what are your levels of fear within your experience? Are you more susceptible to fear or to these other lower frequencies that your cells are being programmed with, that's showing up in your reality and then, of course, reflected in your dream time? How's this landing when I share this? Because these are things that actually recently came up in my awareness.
I actually have had clients who've called me to clear them. Actually, their lovers and family have called me to clear people who are addicted to horror films. And because the person didn't call for it, after the clearing, they snuck out of the house and went to a midnight movie to see another horror film because
My fix.
So what happens is that the biological hormonal response to the faces, the misshapen, scary, or non-humanoid type projections, when we live in a world where, trees are beautiful, the flowers are beautiful, and we become addicted to the distortion of what looks like it's rotten or melting or whatever thing they do for the horror. And then just as smell affects us, that image affects us. And then we become addicted to wanting to see the images that are distortions of what creation and humanity look like. This is a very real experience, and often we should not think, we would be naive to think that these things are not done in a way that affect the brain in such a way that it opens the door for frequencies that are not in our best interest to enter into our brains and to remain there, and then call for more, like any parasite. Any parasite that you eat the sugar, you eat the starch, and then 2 o'clock in the morning, it's like, get up, go get me some cookies. Get up, Walmart's open. When you're in an unconscious, unguarded a state where you're not focused on something else, it's like, go get us a pack of cigarettes. It's midnight. It's okay. Put on your clothes, go to Walmart, and come back with whatever the addiction is.
Yeah.
So it is not unlike that in the same way with a horror movie where what is inserted into the consciousness becomes awakened and wants to, when you are unconscious, unfocused, it wants to come alive into that experience and have its way. And it's all a matter of what we have allowed or what we have permitted, and we can at any point choose to not allow and not permit it, because we are the masters of our own beingness. And one of the things that helps that is to eat a clean diet free of processed or non-organic life that creation has made. When you dig up a potato and eat it, or you pull a tomato off a tree, or it's an organic tomato that's not GMO, you're filling yourself up with the information that is from creation.
That rhymes.
If you're eating a hot pocket microwaved item, that it won't even, there's not enough nutrition even for the parasites. You may need to eat 4 or 5 of them. You might have to eat 12 corn dogs, because that is not food. That's
Like,
masquerading.
Parasites ain't satisfied.
Right. And so they're going to, as soon as you are unconscious and unfocused, they're going to rise up and say, yeah, what's on the horror station on Netflix, or what do I want? Where's the sugar? There's nothing in the house. I got to go out and get it. I have seen people get up in the middle of the night and make a pie, like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, making a pie. Because they weren't oriented to go to Walmart.
Yeah. They're still taking action on the impulse of the frequency or the entity or whatever that energy is. I want to speak a little bit about, by the way, I love where this is going, even though we're still talking about dreams, but it's kind of tangential to the idea of what's happening with our consciousness. And more specifically, to speak to what you were saying, what we give consent to and what we allow and permit. And this is one of the things, we just finished our energetic protection and defense class, and we were just speaking about this. And I felt like I really had to say something, because once you started saying parasites, I'm like, oh, you create the environment for them, right? Through, again, not just what we're eating, but what we're consuming on the many different levels of watching, hearing, and music. And there are things that end up nesting or housing within us that wants more of it, like feed me more, bring me more of the thing. So hearing you say, like, okay, the person, maybe they got their fix with sugar, but then the thing expresses itself through, let me watch this thing that is not so positive, that really equates to anti-life. Like I could see where there's some level of connectivity between the low frequency of either film or music or like some type of emotional charge energy, and how it may the same thing that's directing us to get the sugary thing is directing us to watch or listen to or do this next action. Would you say that's accurate?
Or to drink the alcohol or any of the things that are the way that you know is, does the horror movie support life? Does Hennessy, 2 fingers of Hennessy support life? Does the microwave burrito and the corn dog support life? I mean, it's really, we don't have to be confused. You can answer that question even in your confusion.
Yes.
Even if you're like, I don't know, then you can say, this is lettuce, this is a corn dog. Like, which one of these things supports life? Yes.
It's funny. It's giving the childhood vibes, like which one of these things match, and the simple ABC 1, 2, 3. This is
So,
what if I may, really quick, for people who are listening, this is a very simple way of discerning. LaOta actually teaches a sun calibration class on how to use your body's intelligence to check for yes and no. Is it in my best and highest interest to eat this, to do this business deal, to sleep with this person, to date this person, to do business, etc.? Ask your body. But if you don't quite got the operating manual for your body yet, which you can come to us for, you can ask this question: does this give life? Is this anti-life?
yeah, does it support life and my life, or does it not? This will become very critical in the near future, that we be able to know, should we go left or should we go right? We're running. Like, I'm running. Like, it's a fork in the road. You're going to need to know, you're going to need to silence the part of you that, or the aspect of you that you have allowed that is not in your favor. And you're going to have to
And
amplify.
ChatGPT can't do this for you.
Yes.
Grok, whoever you use it.
Right. So the idea of Dreamtime often will show us the trajectory of the direction so that we may change it. Like, the ancestors may come in and say, look, danger ahead. Look, you can fall off that cliff. You see you falling off the cliff?
Mm-hmm.
Like, take this back to your waking state and change the trajectory you're going in.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Stop eating that. Stop eating whatever you're eating before you go to bed. Stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed. The sleep time is not for digestion. It's for healing. It's not for digestion.
That part.
Yeah.
So
you can, just in the knowing of these things, just in our speaking about this will help people.
yes. So again, I want to give a general reminder for people who have interest in the energy hygiene practices that we have here at Of the Sun. You can visit ofthesun.com, and on our homepage, you'll see meditation, mindfulness, and evolutionary practices. And we have extensive array of energy hygiene practices that you can dive into. Hold on a second. I'm actually navigating through Windows. I was about to pull it up, but we'll make sure that the link is in the description for those who are interested. And again, nighttime practices. You were saying that there are a variety of things that we offer for free, just free information, free knowledge on how to protect yourself before dream time, ways to raise your vibratory fill up to a higher space where you're more sovereign, where you're elevated, and calling in your guides, your allies to squad up. All right, and then we move into our space happy. Also, and I'll speak this one out, calling forth the frequency of correction, inviting that frequency into our dream time. You're a big advocate of this. Like, do
Yes.
People who are like, I want to do it today. You're like, no, do it before you go to bed into your dream state. Would you speak a little bit about why it's important and how that impacts us?
I'd like to give the framework that we are part of creation, and the idea of correction is an idea from Creator, and that idea is available to us, and that we know that what we call for, we must receive by law in this universe. So the opportunity to be aware that we can just ask to be corrected, and we might need 8 hours in our sleep to do it, likely, maybe for months at a time, that we may be corrected. We could return back to our original template. We could be the blueprint that we were meant to be. It is in the asking that we will receive. If we don't ask, it is unlikely that you have ever seen correction in any of your ancestors or anybody else's ancestors. But in the asking is the giving. So you could be the one who helps humanity move forward through correction. If you ask for it like that, correction itself, which is a divine understanding, will just go in and make the necessary changes of what needs to be done first, instead of you trying to say, well, I really think you ought to correct the hair on my legs first. And then the correction might say, well, we think the brain might be the better place to start.
Yeah, let the divine intelligence handle this. All right, just let us do what we do.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. I had to learn that lesson. Like, all right, Tarvars, you think you know? No, divine, do what you do. Work through me.
So that idea of
yeah.
correction will help you with dreams as well.
Most certainly. So before we wrap up, LaOta, because we've been going a little longer than usual, I've already done our call for the truth card pull while you were speaking. It's so on point. It's like,
all righty. What was the question?
It's what we need to understand. What is the truth that we need to understand regarding our dream time? But before we go into that, I'd like to just do a quick screen share. One of our sponsors, in Lakesh Studio One, she has these amazing journals that they're just beautiful and they're so sacred. Like, you're not going to want to use this for planning your day. You're going to want to write something magical and sacred within these type of journals. And so on her website,
dream journals, our dream journals. Yes.
Yeah. In Lakesh Studio One, that's ONE.com. She has a variety of these wonderful journals that are available for purchase. I'm going to zoom in a little more so you can see that a little closer. She's also selling some of the other products that Of the Sun offers. She's a distributor. We have the handmade bee journal. This is one of the hottest ones. It's an indentation of the bee. I mean, you can see the quality of this is high end with the stitching on the side. The pages are high quality. Here are a variety of other ones with these locks on them. If it's sacred and private, you know what I mean? And then here are some that are a little more amped up in terms of the aesthetics. And these are all handmade too. The Dragon Journal. This can be one for your totem, the crow. Some more handmade ones, and another one here looks like a Tree of Life journal, and they're priced pretty reasonably. And this is massive. This is let's see if it shows the size. I'm clicking on the link, but well, we won't spend too much time. You all can check that out on your own time when you have a moment. But clearly, these are nice ways to document our experiences. And again, the dream state is real in the field. So I have this.
Well, I would like to share. I have that large one myself for my personal use. It's 12 by 14, and it's bound in leather, and the pages are thick and beautiful. And certainly, your valuable thoughts are worth memorializing at such a level of exaltation and your dreams.
All right. So for anyone who's interested, we'll have a link in the description for you all. And so our call for the truth divination card pull today is the theme freedom.
Yeah.
And the maxim is, you ready for this? As we free ourselves, we awaken the others that are asleep. Come on now. Come on now. And it's pink, the same color you're wearing today. It's just like, square it up. Life is cool. It's real in the field.
Well, thank you so much, and thank our audience for joining us. We hope that you will see us again. We'd like to greet you with the greetings of In Lakesh and Veritas with honor, respect, and gratitude to you. Thank you.